Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. My name's Connor Williams, joined by Cal Brannan, and this is ranking all of Farhad Moshiri's transfers under his reign. £670 million spent during his, I think it's now 6 years of, well, I was going to say terror, but there's some revisionism on Twitter at the minute, so I think it's terror. Some people seem to think the stadium's bailed him out and it's the greatest 6 years in the club's history because of one stadium. I guess that's open to opinion. But so starting off, his first one was Martin Stecklenburg, who is right here. What are we saying for Stecklenburg, Cal? We've for the viewers, we've got elite, good, average, poor, flop, and then barely played, just because it's hard to rank players who've barely played a game of football at Everton Football Club. So where would you rank Martin Stecklenburg?
I mean, barely played. This is like what you just said there. It's hard to put him in flop because he barely played because we didn't pay anything for him and he came in to be a backup goalkeeper. It'd be like calling like Begovic now a flop or something, something along those lines. He barely played. And we don't want to be sitting here for 2 hours talking about the arguably the most depressing time in the club's history, really, when it's meant to be Christmas time. So yeah, barely played.
Yeah, that's Begovic for a start. There we go. There he is in a very, very old-looking Everton kit now. Barely played. Yeah, I agree. That's the barely played ones are going to save us so much time in this long, long list of players. Next, we will go with. We'll go with someone that's got a bit more to discuss, and we will go with Yannick Bolasie, who is there. This is really testing the knowledge of players through what they look like back then. I put him in barely played. Where would you put Yannick Bolasie?
Is he a flop? I can't really remember Bolasie that much, which is probably saying yeah, because we paid 30 million for him, I'm pretty sure. Did we not sign Bolasie because we couldn't get Zaha?
Yeah, we paid 28 million euros, so it was about 27 million pounds for Bolasie, who was plagued by injuries as well.
He has to be a flop, doesn't he? 28 million for someone who barely played. I really like Bolasie. Even now on Twitter and stuff, he's really supportive of the club and things like that. And I really like Bolasie. He's one of those who was really fun to watch, even when he did barely play for us. But at the end of the day, the product just wasn't there, and I don't know. There are some really crap players at Everton who've played for Everton that I can have vivid memories of. And Bolasie, I just don't remember anything about him at his time at the club. I can't put him anywhere else. It's flop or poor, either of them. I can't put him above poor.
I can remember him. I think flop's fair. I think we all sort of were hoping for it when we signed him from Palace. Obviously for 27 million, he was on a decent bit of run of form. Like you said, it was more that we wanted Zaha and didn't get him. But I just feel like his injury, he was suffering from injuries, obviously, which really, really sort of costed him his Everton career. Was one of the Fab Four in Moshiri's eyes, along with Wayne Rooney, Sigurdsson and Genk Tosin, who we'll get to in due course. Which makes it even. I feel like Moshiri coming out and saying that just sort of solidifies the sort of what am I trying to say? The fact that he's a flop, the fact that the owner's coming out and saying he's one of the Fab Four, and it just got laughed at immediately, and is one of his sort of mental statements while being at Everton. So yeah, I think for Yannick Bolasie, a flop is probably fair. I can't remember him getting a lot of goals at Everton. I think barely any. Like I said, he didn't I think he played a season, and then we sort of shipped him out. I
Yeah,
remember
he
him
didn't
going
really at
all
Palace though
sorts.
either, did he? Like,
No, he wasn't prolific at Palace, but I remember him. I'm sure we sent him out to like Anderlecht, like Sporting, Villa, a couple of Middlesbrough. So if you're spending 27 million to send a player on loan to those type of places, it's really bad investment.
smashing it in Brazil now though.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say there's a couple of players on this list that are better now, doing better in their respective leagues. Next, we have. Looking on the list, let's go with Morgan Schneiderlin. Very popular man at Everton.
That's surely another flop, isn't it? Did we
Yeah,
not pay like 25 mil for him as well?
yeah. From
For
Man
Morgan
United.
Schneiderlin, man.
Yeah, not a
Yeah,
great one. About 20. I think it was about 20 mil. This is in euros, so I'm going to assume add a mil on, take a mil off, depending on where the euro was at that point
yeah.
compared to the pound. But yeah, roughly around there.
More than what a Man United. Was he even a bench option at that point? Or was it more he was just he stayed around for a while as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he was. I feel like this is why we're putting him in flop because he did all right at Southampton, got the big move. Then I remember he was okay in the early goings, but he stayed for I think it was 3 years he stayed at us, and towards the end, people were just so, and myself included, fed up with him.
He was horrendous.
He was one of in those 3 years, I'm sure he saw off about 3 managers as well. He was there under Silva. He was there under Koeman, I'm sure. He was there. This was I think this might have approached the Martinez season, so he was there under Roberto Martinez as well. This was, I remember, any players from now, a couple of them are ones that had seen off 3 managers on the bounce, and I think by the time Silva was sacked, fans were starting to go, they aren't the problem. The players are. Some of these players need to be sold, and he went on a free as well. That ultimately is how it ended. Nobody wanted him. He went on a free to Nice.
Oh God, yeah.
Hasn't really. I mean, he's kicking it up at.
No, we got some money for him, didn't we? I swear we got like 2 mil or something crap like that for him. I don't know why. There's just something about Morgan Schneiderlin and £2 million stuck in my head.
Possibly then. Possibly.
Did we sell him in like 2020? 2021?
Yeah.
Do you know why? I bet that'll have been one of the first news videos I ever did for this channel. That's why I'll remember.
Well, either so, 2 million from a 20 odd million is pretty poor. And he's now, if people are interested, he is still playing football.
Is he?
Yeah, at 35, he is playing in what looks like the Cypriot League, but
I know he went to Australia, and then he got like a horrendous red card that was going around Everton Twitter.
Yeah, he's playing in the Greek league. Apologies, not the first division, I don't think. But yeah, playing in the Greek league at 35 years old. All power to him. So then moving on, and the next player on this list is Ashley Williams. Again, another popular player. Yeah, what are we saying about Big Ashley?
Flop. He's the worst. He's the worst centre back I've ever seen.
14 million euros. Ashley Williams cost us as well. There he is.
We signed him based entirely off Wales' Euro 2016.
Yeah, and I mean, I have one memory of him that was like I have loads of memories of him, but I remember, and this one might be a bit uncalled for, but I remember the season he came back a little bit overweight for a footballer. We'd had that really horrible kit as well, and I had it that was really tight to you, and he had the photo shoot, and it wasn't a very flattering kit. But he did come back carrying a little bit of timber, which I mean, some footballers do. Wayne Rooney used to do it all the time. But he'd also play, like you could tell he was carrying a little bit extra in the way he played. He slowed down massively towards the end. And the overarching memory for me is Mo Salah's Puskas award winning,
he just
which is a
dribbled through us
goal.
all.
Yeah, and he like finessed it, which is a goal that we've seen him do 100 times. I think it was a bit of an overrated goal anyway. But the fact that Ashley Williams, knowing that Mohamed Salah's a left-footed player, bends his body towards the right, leaving absolutely acres of space. Towards the left, leaving space. It really, every time I see it, all I think is Ashley Williams is awful defending there. He's left-footed, just show him onto his right foot.
He's the reason Holgate started getting opportunities, is he not?
Yeah, I think it also coincided with Holgate getting a chance.
Well, there you go. That answers your question. He made us all, and I know because I was scrolling through my own Twitter shamelessly the other day, and I was seeing a lot of positive things about Mason Holgate. It might have been a little bit later, but it was definitely during Ashley Williams' time that Holgate started to come in, and we all thought Mason Holgate was the second coming of Maldini because of how bad the defenders we had were.
It's honestly, I think flop is fair. The next player...
He might be the worst one.
The next player, I mean, I don't think this changes my opinion on where he goes. I still think we will end up talking and levelling him out at a respectable place, irregardless of the fact he's had his second stint at the club. But it is Idrissa Gana Gueye for the first time from Villa at a measly 8 million. It was something like that, 8.5 euros. So it was probably about 8 million.
It's elite.
Yeah.
He was
even his second run, I think, has been. I mean, it started a bit rough, but I think he's gone on to prove that it's not as good as his first run, but it was never going to be. But it's also not tarnished his career at Everton either. It's not like he's come back and everyone's like, "Oh, he's ruined. He was always rubbish." He's still very respected through the fan base.
He was one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. There's a reason PSG took him off us. He was I think, the only person who came close to his tackling numbers was Kante.
I was just about to say, I remember he was pushing up there with Kante at the time, and this was like prime N'Golo Kante, which just shows you how well Idrissa Gana Gueye was doing.
He was so good. And he was so much, He was so much better on the ball than we made out he was as well. I do think he's unironically got a bit better on the ball in his second stint. I think he's better on the ball now than he was then. But he wasn't nearly as bad as people made out. And I think, we're going to get to him, but I think a lot of the crap got about his ball retention ability was why we ended up signing midfielders like Schneiderlin, like Gomez, and in that mould. But yeah, I think for 8 million, he's probably one of the top 5 on this list, to be honest.
Yeah. In terms of value for money, as well as just the fact he was a great player, I think that does push him quite into the top 5 if you're going to do a ranking like that. The next one is who do we go for? We'll go with Ademola Lookman, who we were just on about before we joined. Obviously, is now tearing it up at Atalanta, one of the most informed players at the minute. Signed him from Charlton for quite cheap. It was. It was 8 million, which I'm saying is quite cheap when you consider you can, quadruple that at least right now. He's a 40 odd million pound player if he was to go in the summer. What are we right? Well, obviously, we've got to do it on his Everton career. We can't do it on his potential.
Did we not make a profit?
I think when we sold him, he went for a profit. I can get his.
I think it's one where this. I think is he not? Is he a barely played? Because I barely remember him playing.
When did we get rid of him?
We got rid of him like the COVID year.
I was going to say Lookman might have been a player that stayed on the radar a little bit longer than I expected.
We sold him to Leipzig.
He went on a loan to Leipzig.
Or did we? No, I'm sure. Did we not sell him to Leipzig? And then Leipzig loaned him to. We loaned him to Leipzig, and then did we not sell him to them? Because then he went on loan to Fulham in the COVID year, or the year after the COVID year.
Yeah, that's the loan fee. So the season after would have been this one. I'm really struggling to see where we sold him. Oh, right, here we go. He went 2 seasons after, I think this is saying, or the season after, 18 million. So, yeah, we made a 10 million profit on him. Which
Average?
isn't awful. Yeah, I don't think it's awful.
I don't think he was a flop because I
in
think
terms of him playing now, I can get his playing stats up now. I remember him very barely at Everton. He played 24 times and got 1 goal, which, if I remember rightly, was such what he was capable of goal. I can't remember now who it's against, but I'm sure it was a dribble. Do you know what? Give me all day if we're going to try and remember goals of players, but I do remember it being a great goal from him.
And a lot of those were like the classic Everton 85th minute substitute, 80-minute substitutes, I can imagine as well.
Oh, yeah, he never got
he never got a chance. And I mean, probably for the best for him. But yeah, average, because I mean, he wasn't horrendous. He didn't barely play, and we made a profit on him. And I know
he played 24 games. Scored 3 goals, then went on loan to Leipzig, then came back and played another 24 games and got 1 goal, then went to Leipzig. So he's played 48 games and scored 4 goals in the Premier League. I would go
average because we made a good profit on him.
And bearing in mind, he was 19 when we had him.
Yeah, well, even now, I think he's still only 25 now.
Yeah, he was a young lad.
He's still quite young now. Yeah. Where is he there? I can't even see him. Yeah, because he was bald back when we signed him, wasn't
he? Yeah, I saw him before when I was messing around moving people about.
I'm looking at some of these names now. Wow, man.
I'm sure he's knocking about in a really old Everton kit. But yeah, the one thing I will say about Lookman is I remember there he is. He's really young. I'll move him. I think he might have just gone up into average. He goes. Yeah, I do remember there was the one thing, and obviously he's a young lad, so you've got to give him this. But he used to be so bad for dribbling halfway up the pitch, turning around, then dribbling all the way back down the other half of the pitch. Never lose the ball, but he'd do it so often. Deulofeu used to do it at times as well. Gerard Deulofeu used to sometimes dribble halfway up the pitch, then halfway down it, then halfway back up. I think it's just players looking for space to dribble into, going backwards to go forwards.
In those teams, the Allardyce team and the Koeman team, it was just impossible to be a creative player for us. We were just horrendous football. It's like the same now. It's why you're seeing players like an Illiman and Dye struggle to get counting stats like goals and assists because of how horrendous we play and how bad the strikers were. Because I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of any of our strikers now, but bloody hell, our strikers back then were even worse.
Well, speaking of strikers, the next one is a loan transfer from West Ham, and it was Enner Valencia. Yeah, I mean, in terms of his actual stats at Everton, he'd 23 games, 3 goals, and then I don't think we ever permanently signed him. He went back on loan to West Ham, so didn't keep him. He got 3 goals. But he was alone, so I'm gonna say poor.
Yeah, if we didn't sign him permanently, I for some reason thought I could remember him for more than one season. But yeah, poor.
Yes,
we didn't sign him permanently, then yeah, I can't imagine the loan fee was much either.
Next, we have Dominic Calvert-Lewin for a mere
elite.
1.8 million.
It's
so
elite.
I think it was 1.5.
1.5 million, and he's going to end up as our all-time top goal scorer in the Premier League. It's elite. The bloke now winds me up loads, and to the point where I don't think he should be Everton's starting striker. And I don't think he should be signing for probably even half of the 120 grand a week. But those the Ancelotti years, and even just before then and just after then, before the injuries got really bad, he was like the start of that COVID year where we absolutely battered like West Brom, Brighton, him, James Rodriguez, Richarlison. If it's that or the 2013 team, if I could pick like peak performances from an Everton team, it's either that early COVID season where we were like second at Christmas, or the Martinez's first season as like the best performances I've seen from Everton teams consistently, like in a row, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's like you said, and I don't know if he'll stay on after this season or what happens, but I guess when you look at the terms of the money, we've got longevity out of him at least. This is like 6 years of a player. That transfer window, by the way, the first one under Moshiri was 86 million altogether spent in the window.
I thought it was more than that, to be honest.
No, we're about to hit peak banter transfer window. So this is we now head into the 2017-18 arrivals, and we kick it off with, this was such an odd window. I remember I was on holiday at the time, and we were just signing player after player after player. Like there are so many players on this list. We kick it off with 49 million euros, Gylfi Sigurdsson, a player who, on his, like, if you're ignoring Icelandic Superstato, on his day, really, really good. He got some great goals for us. Great set piece specialist. Towards the end, was abysmal. Used to walk around the pitch. We'll ignore all the other stuff with him and just go off football. But obviously, the fact that it ended the way it did as well is sort of, there was no what's the word I'm looking for? Resale value in him either, because of the stuff he got caught up in. But
I don't think there would have. He was going on a free no matter what, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say the performances he was putting in that last season, he was probably going to go on a free anyway.
But that was the last season. No, it wasn't COVID, was it? It was the year after. Because COVID, he scored the second goal when we beat Liverpool at Anfield. He scored the penalty, did he not? Yeah, he scored the penalty because it has to be poor, doesn't it? Or not flop, because he was good. Like,
he was
objectively was a good
really
footballer,
good.
but 40, that much money was ridiculous. Swansea had our pants down considering the guy who ended up replacing him, I know he only stayed for a year, cost us no. You know,
yeah,
the guy who booted him out of the team basically cost us no. And I mean, when we get to that player, we'll talk about it. But like, you compare that player in that one season, or even just the first half of that season before we got injured, to everything Gylfi Sigurdsson did for Everton.
Well, he's got 156 games for Everton, 31 goals.
Wow.
Yeah, he was again, when I said before, he's also one of the Fab Four.
Did he not have one really good year where he got like almost double-digit assists?
Yeah, he had
like the second year or the first. It might be that it was the first or second year. He was actually really good for us.
Yeah, he was. I think the problem is that, like, towards the end, it was so bad. And that 2019-2020 season from him was bad. But up until then, 2018-19, he was good for assists. It's a tough one with him because, like we've said, on his day, fantastic player. But,
he had no one to serve the ball to as well. He had some absolute donkeys who he had to pass the ball to, which I will defend him. Like, if Calvert-Lewin would have developed a little bit quicker, let's say, to the player he ended up being under Ancelotti like a year earlier, I could have genuinely seen Gylfi having, a 14, 15 assist season just from the set pieces as well. Because, one thing a lot of us mention about Calvert-Lewin is before he got that injury, the Ancelotti season, he jumped like an NBA player. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that 18-19 season, by the way, is the one you're on about. 13 goals, 2 of them were penalties, 6 assists.
Yeah, that's the season. Was it Coleman or Silva?
There'll have been Silva then, I think.
Yeah, because Ancelotti, or would it? No, it'll technically be an Ancelotti, wouldn't it? Because he came in halfway through the season.
18, 19.
And then, yeah, because 1920 is the COVID year, is it not? No, 2021's the COVID year.
Yeah, I think it's still Silva, this.
Yeah, well,
because this was before. This was when Richarlison's I think this was 18-19 was Richarlison's first season or second. So.
Yeah, it was because we brought him from Watford, didn't we?
Again, a player that saw out too many managers, which was a fair point by a lot of the fan base.
I think he could have worked out if he, let's say, if we would have stuck with Silva.
I'm tempted to put him at average.
That's too much money to put him in average. Way too much money.
It did end so poorly as well.
That's it, isn't it? We can't be sat here saying, well, he was average because he had one good season for 50 million euros, basically.
Yeah,
I don't have the stomach to put him in flop because I couldn't, if I can vividly remember you having a really good season in my head, I can't do that. But I can't put him any higher than poor.
Yeah, I think flop would be far too brutal on him, but yeah, I think average is good. So next we'll go with Michael Keane, 28 million euros from Burnley. Again, player that saw out too many managers. There seems to be a running theme of this transfer window.
It has to be at minimum average, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The years of service. And he was good for a decent amount of time, I'm pretty sure. I remember.
Yeah, it's only the last 2-3 seasons now where he's abysmal. Ancelotti got him to work well in that defensive three as well.
And even then, even now, he'll still come up with a big goal.
Yeah, and his ball playing as well for a centre-back, his long ball playing is really, really good.
And he hasn't even been that bad this season.
No, you can see why Deitch likes him. His long balls are incredibly good.
I'm not going to lie, I could easily see if we bought in a ball-playing manager, them preferring Branthwaite and Keane.
Well, you could argue
Branthwaite and I can't put him in. He's not good, is he? He's average again. He's average.
Yeah, I think average is.
I think the last 2 or 3 years, the bad years, have kind of balanced out what may have been good.
Yeah, I'm trying not to let heart rule or recency bias either affect it. So I'm trying not to say crap because of the last 2 seasons, because I think that's.
We could have just. I'm not going to lie. For 30 million, we probably could have just signed Tarkowski earlier.
Well, I think Ben Mee is the one from Burnley.
Ben Mee, yeah.
Ben Mee was the one that made them all.
Even probably a Harry Maguire at that time, probably, because I think it was the year after or the year after that where he really burst on. But you look at the other centre backs around, there were probably much, much, much better centre backs than Michael Keane that we could have got for 30 mil at the time.
Yeah, for 28 million as well from Sunderland is Jordan Pickford. This one,
it's the best.
Yeah,
it's the best signing we've made since someone like Arteta or Tim Cahill.
Yeah,
it's crazy. The best since Tim Cahill. He's a better signing than Arteta.
It is crazy because he had such. There were some years under Pickford where you really. He's really the last couple of years. He's really come into his own because I think 2 years in, people were ready to.
I'd say it's been when was the Origi year? His first year, was it not that year?
Possibly. I think it was since Ancelotti and since I think Pickford had said he was speaking to a sports psychologist and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's when really started to notice it.
Ever since that trip to the Euros final, I feel
his erratic behaviour is a lot better because he's still a bit erratic now to watch, but he used to be so much worse for it.
He's a top 5 goalkeeper in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I don't care what fans of other clubs say. It's without a doubt. It's like he's
England's number one as well.
England's number one goalkeeper. Fighting for clean sheets in a team that should. Without Jordan Pickford, we go down 3 years ago.
Yeah, I think you say that 2 of the seasons we battled relegation, I think you could say were like Richarlison's last season. Pickford made big saves. I remember against Chelsea, he made some great saves.
Consistently as well. Even now he does it.
Yeah.
Every game you're getting at least 2 big saves from Pickford. Like, not just saves, big saves. Things that should be goals. That he should have like Premier League title medals at another club. It still shocks me that Chelsea, who I don't think Robert Sanchez is bad, but like how Chelsea will have a goalkeeper like Robert Sanchez when they probably could have come and clawed Pickford off us for 40 mil.
Well, United were sniffing, weren't they? Supposedly last year.
Well, that's it. Yeah, like he
not
might,
that he'd, fixed all their problems.
To
But
say
better
Pickford
than not.
was the most expensive English goalkeeper ever at the time, and he's still second now, and not by much behind Ramsdale. £30 million for a goalkeeper, even now, is probably still a lot of money. And it only doesn't look like as much of a money as much because of how much Liverpool ended up paying for Alisson not long after. Even now, you don't see goalkeepers going for 30-40 million that much. And to say 30 million is a bargain. If we would have paid double, he'd have still been worth it.
Yeah, I think
every penny. And his loyalty also has to go into a because he could have easily went to like a Newcastle instead of like Nick Pope or a Villa before they signed Emi Martinez and said better project than we are. But no, he's loyal, and even to this day, he's still loyal to the club. And realistically, it should have cost him. Oh yeah, well he's a Sunderland fan. Yeah, he's
I was going to say anyone but them.
I was just thinking of
I know what you mean.
Like those sort of clubs, like. But it was he's probably the best signing on this list, and probably the best signing we've made since someone like a Kale or someone in that Moyes era. Like constant big performances, and when over the past 15 years have we been able to say we've had a top 5 player in the league at a position that's not left back or that's not full back?
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely mad. We'll move on to the next one, which is Davy Klaassen. This was for like about 27 million euros. I feel a bit for him because I remember at the time going to games with my dad, and I used to say that he's a good player. He just moves too quickly for the rest of the team.
He was a good player, but like that summer, what was it? It was Sigurdsson, him. Rooney.
He signed all the 10s, all the number 10s in the world.
I think moving to us killed his career. Killed what could have been a promising career. Because I think it was a confidence thing for him after that, and he was just never real. I think he had a season or two where he did all right after us, but ever since he left us, it's been really like for him,
It's worth pointing out he only played 16 games for us as well. I don't know what would count as barely played, but yeah.
It's flop, yeah. Like I can't put him in barely played when we paid 30 million for him.
He's I think he's unlucky. But yeah. The next one is Theo Walcott. 22 million euros here for him from Arsenal. I remember at the time when we signed him, I was a bit like, I don't know whether to be thrilled or not thrilled. It was a real tough one. He played 85 games and got 11 goals in the Premier League.
There's some games I just remember him, but I don't. You might be. Did he score in the 4-0 against City?
The
Tom Davies game.
I'm struggling to remember that far back.
I remember him in one of like the weird games where we decided to turn into Barcelona. I feel like against one of the Manchester teams. It was when we turned one of the Manchester teams on 4-0. He was just. There was a few games where Walcott was just really, really good.
Wasn't the United game where we beat United? Was it under Silva?
It might have been, but there was just a few more. 22. It is. Is it poor? It is poor, isn't it?
His best season, he got 6 goals for us.
Yeah, it's poor. He wasn't very good. He wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And for that much money for someone who had well-known injury issues too. I'm pretty sure he probably got injured a few times for us.
Yeah, he also went back to Southampton on loan as well. We'd loaned him out as well during this period.
Yeah, I think he's a prime example of Moshiri looking at the big clubs and just taking their dead weight when the club didn't want him no more. And I feel Walcott's one of those where if it may have been 3 or 4 years earlier, we'd be saying a different story. But I think he's one of those where he was heavily reliant on his pace, and his pace started to go a little bit earlier than he expected.
Yeah. We now move on to Cenk Tosun, who this one drove me. This is Moshiri classic because I'm sure he watched him against Monaco when he played for Besiktas in the Champions League and was like, that's who I need at Everton. I'm sure that was when asked about it. Like, I know people will be in the comments like, oh, it wasn't Moshiri buying all of these. You got managers, directors of football. And to some degree, yeah, fairs. But Cenk Tosun, when you read back why we signed him, is such a Moshiri signing. I'm not having, people gaslight me into anyone but Moshiri greenlighting this.
Who was the manager at the time? Was it not? It was Silva. Yeah.
Yeah, in 17-18, his best season, he played 14 games and got 5 goals. His second best season was 4 goals in 29 for us.
I seem to remember him having a loan spell at Crystal Palace and doing quite well.
Yeah, he went 5 games, 1 goal, which ratio-wise is pretty decent. He also went back to Besiktas on loan, played 4 games, got 3 goals, came back to us, played 3 games, got no goals, and then went to Besiktas.
Yeah,
and in his first season back, got 18 and 34. So I think he just found his level, and it was Turkish football.
Yeah, he's a flop. He was so bad. That's the thing. He was you look at some strikers and they can have redeeming qualities about them. Like Beto now, how he'll constantly harry a defender, he'll constantly run, or even Calvert-Lewin now with his link-up play. Calvert-Lewin's got really good link-up play, and it probably makes up for a little bit for his. But Cenk Tosun just had nothing for what I can remember. He was just really bad and cost so much money, and you're like, he's another one where you think of an ambitious club who are willing to spend lots of money on a player, and you think of the strikers we could have probably got in the late 2010s. That wouldn't have been that far of a reach for us as well. And you just go.
I think any player you sign as well, though, off just watching one game of football at halftime with your mates is a lethal one.
Yeah, it's it's Cenk Tosun. Do you know what I mean? With some players after signing them off, them absolutely doing you in. It's I think the one big example a lot of people try to use anyways, the Alex Ferguson with Ronaldo, even though they'd already been scouting him beforehand. But it's one there's certain players where that style probably works with, more so wingers or something like that, where their game predicates on having the ball a lot. But especially in how many crap players do you see score in the Champions League? Absolutely loads. And it's like his logic was, well, he scored or he played well in the Champions League. We want to be in the Champions League after I think we'd just been annihilated in Lyon and Atalanta. Or was that the year? That was the year after, because that was the Vlasic year. Because I was at that game where Vlasic, or whichever one where, it was the one where Vlasic scored that worldie because Sigurdsson scored the worldie away from home. I think
so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where it is, and I can't be able to find it. I have the ticket for that Hijack Split game somewhere lying around.
Where the curse appeared from. Speaking of Split, Nikolai Vlasic is the next one.
How much did we pay?
We paid a total of £10 million from
he barely played, did he?
No, because his sister went on social media, didn't she? Yeah. Again, no, a player that since us, I think has had an all right career.
Like,
I don't think he's as
again,
good as his family
I
thought he was
feel
going to
like
be.
I think
19
Vlasic was
games.
I feel like Vlasic was a Marco Silva.
Yeah,
Like he
again,
feels
another 10 though.
he feels like a player I could see. I could see easily if I saw Nikola Vlasic linked with Fulham, it wouldn't shock me.
He got 2 goals in the Europa League. Played 19 games. They were his only 2 goals. Yeah.
He barely put.
19 games is
He barely played, and it was if it was like 15, 20 mil, I'd say flop. But he's 10 mil,
on Barlow.
and what? Yeah, and he wasn't given a chance.
Okay, sweet. The next one is I'm not too sure if this player is on this list or not. I can't tell if it's who that is there. It could be him.
That's a
No,
Kunku.
no, that's Nkunku. I don't think
Who are
he's
you
on
looking
this.
for?
I'm looking for. I don't think he's on the list. It was on Yakuru.
Oh bloody hell!
I
Flop. Did he flop
don't think he's on
because
the list. I barely played. I think is where he would have qualified.
is he though? Because like is the reason he barely played was us being stupid with his work thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he couldn't get a loan permit for
Yeah.
ages.
So the logic for flop here is it's not his fault. It's completely the club's fault. But he's a flop because how can you not realise a player that you're about to sign for decent money? I think was it
Won't
not
get a
like
work
18
permit.
million?
No, it was 8 million, but
8
he never
million.
played a
Even
game
then,
of
like
football. Never played a game of football for 8 million is insane.
yeah, like and it's all the club's fault as well. It's nothing to do with him. But yeah,
No,
it has to be flop just because how can you do something so stupid?
he's not even on there to be fair to him. Right, we'll go to the next one who is on there, and it is Sandro Ramirez. If he's left at the end, we know that's him. But Sandro Ramirez, yeah,
Horrendous footballer.
an FM wonder kid of yesteryear, but yeah, absolute flop. Nice and easy. Um, Then we start heading into the free transfers, and we'll kick off with Kuka Martina.
Flop. I don't care that he's free. He's arguably the worst footballer I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. A dismal
Where is he?
footballer. Now
He's
lost. I had him.
third row.
Yeah,
There you go. Yeah, one of, if not the worst footballer I've ever seen.
yeah, he
Like
was
ability wise,
a dismal player.
genuinely, it might have been like a League Two caliber player playing in the Premier League.
We next have the boyhood dream return, which is Wayne Rooney. He got some great goals.
I'm going to hold my hands up
West
here,
Ham game.
and this personal bias through the roof, elite, because I was at that West Ham game.
Yeah,
As someone who, right, there's probably the Blues on Twitter are going to be fuming, but as someone who, from where I am in the country, it's expensive to go to Everton games, and especially at this time, I would have been 16. So if I was going to an Everton game, it was with my dad. It was very few opportunities. We went to a few this season. The Hijack split one being one I mentioned. He got those first 2 goals, and then the third one's from the halfway line. The hat trick goal is from the halfway line. Elite just for that for me. Don't care.
He got 11 goals in 40 games as well, which I think, bearing in mind he was a free, and it felt like a heart over the head decision. And I think saying this was Moshiri's a bit kind as well, because I think this might have been right.
I think he also redeemed himself to a lot of Everton fans, didn't he? Because
he kissed the badge.
A lot of Everton fans still hated him when he signed back. And he at the end of the day, I think he was good. I think he was good. Not elite, good. Free transfer. Came back, nostalgia run. And again, I'd put him in elite just for the hat trick. For that one game.
It was an unbelievable hat trick.
But yeah, because as well, I wasn't, I was only 5 when he went to United and kissed the badge and hated our fans. So Wayne Rooney was my favourite. Him and Frank Lampard, ironically, were my 2 favourite footballers who didn't play for Everton. So to see he was probably my favourite as well. So to see my favourite footballer, who I hadn't got to see the first time round, come back and actually play well. Because the thing is with Rooney is his passing range was so good. He'd pick the ball up at Cam for us and just fire a diagonal ball, and it'd land right at the winger's foot, and you were like, you'd watch and go.
Yeah, we played him a lot deeper as well. I'm sure towards the end he was playing centre mid CDM at one point.
Yeah, he was, because we tried to fit the other Klassen and some of the other ones in. Yeah. And Rooney, to be fair, was one of the ones willing to try. I feel like someone like James McCarthy might have got injured as well. Or one of those DMs got injured and Rooney ended up playing DM.
Would that have been when Rondon broke McCarthy's leg? Possibly.
Yeah, it might have been, yeah. It feels about the right time for him.
God, there's a ghost of Christmas future for Everton. Mangala, I've just checked, he played 2 games on loan.
Flop, horrendous. He was so bad, he doesn't get the right to go in a barely played. He was so bad. I swear he only played 2 games because in one of them we got tonked. Did he not play a game where we got absolutely pummeled?
Trying to have a look now. I don't think this is going to show me.
I think if you click on his season on Finger, you can get his season for us and then scroll a bit. It'll show the 2 games he played. I'm positive he played a game where we got tonked.
Well, I'll have a look now, but 2 games is awful as well. I mean, was okay at City. He was never really their first choice, was he? So
he was a bit of a flop at City as well, because City bought him, but this is going to be the one. He was terrible for them. Then they signed Otamendi, I think, who ended up being quite good for City, and then obviously Company just didn't age, and he was just very bad. And I think he was very injured a lot. I think he got injured with us.
Yeah, I do remember getting injured now.
I might be wrong. If he didn't play in a game where we got absolutely hammered, I'm willing to accept barely played. But for some reason, I can picture us getting tonked with him at centre back.
He's got 5-1. It's on his heaviest losses category on Transfer Market.
And I remember him playing. So it might be. It probably was him and Ashley Williams, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me. But I just remember looking at him and going, yeah, this bloke is one of the worst footballers I've ever seen.
Well, he finished off that transfer window to 17-18, 203 million euros spent in that window.
So it's the season after. I thought...
Yeah, where we get the Barcelona trio and...
The best deadline day in I remember how excited we all were.
Well, I was going to say, we're now on 18-19, and we'll kick it off with a big one and a fan favourite. It is Richarlison.
Elite.
Elite. Are we sticking in elite? Yeah.
I do not care how much money he was such a good footballer. He's such a nice guy as well. He's the most likable. He's my... Yeah, he is. He's my favourite Everton player ever. He's my favourite Everton player ever. I love him so much.
Yeah, mine's always been Tim Cahill, and then I loved Arteta. It tainted me a bit when he went to Arsenal, but I think he might be behind Tim Cahill for me.
I think he probably overtook Cahill, or maybe because on Cahill or Lukaku probably. But it's just Lukaku
is unreal
when you've got a player who is really passionate, and I know he's been bad at Spurs, but backs it up. He was consistently getting 13 to 16 goals in the Premier League for us.
Ruined his body as well. He's really suffering from injuries, isn't he? He's injured again.
Yeah, well, I do think he's going to come back. I think it's written in the stars. I think he wants to come back, to be honest.
Yeah,
even now, the way he still interacts with Everton fans.
I was about to say,
let's not forget when Spurs. I don't think was it the game where Spurs battered us this season.
Yeah,
Richarlison came over to us before the Spurs fans.
Was it this season or was it last?
It was one of them because he came over and gave his Spurs shirt to an Everton fan, I think. Because it would have been last season because I think they still pummeled us last season, and the Blues on Twitter were fuming that our fans clapped him after they battered us.
Yeah, he scored. Didn't he score 2?
Something like that. Yeah, I
You
love
knew
him.
he was going to score. You
He's
just
my
knew.
favourite Everton player ever.
Always got double digits in a season as well. His lowest scoring season was the last season that he played for us, where he got 11 goals, but they were really big goals, and he really helped the club survive.
Yeah. He had no. He should have left so much earlier than he did.
He promised us though, didn't he? We let him do the Olympics with Brazil and sort of thing.
But even then, he didn't. He didn't leave unless he was saying he'll happily stay unless he wanted to play European football, but understood that only for a certain price we were going to let him go. He didn't throw a strop, didn't anything, and was happy to stay. But we got the money we wanted, and again,
I don't think he'd have left if he could have matched his ambition.
He's such a good footballer, and I think, for example, the World Cup showed it for Brazil. He's such a good footballer and had no right to probably join us from Watford, to be honest. He probably should have went straight to a top 6 club, if I'm being honest. And I have to put him in the league because of everything he did. He's another one. He's in the same as Pickford, where we go down without him. Those years where Calvert-Lewin's injuries started to toll up, he was the one who stepped up when he wasn't a natural striker, became a natural striker at us. We signed him as a winger, and then he became more of a natural striker. And yeah, when we do this video about the Friedkins in years' time, I'm going to be ready to put him back in elite then, because he's going to come back, and I'm delusional about it. He's going to come. I love him. I can't put him anything lower than it. He's, ability-wise, besides Rooney, ability when we signed them and during the time at the club, is probably the best player on this list.
Well, next we've got Yerry Mina. I don't know where we're going to put him.
Good.
But
I'm going to
say,
he was so good whenever he played.
For 30 million, whenever he played, I feel like he'd be elite if he could have stayed fit, because he'll always have that caveat of if he'd have just stayed fit more.
If he'd just stayed fit, I don't think we'd have ever signed Tarkowski.
No, because he was such a great
aerial
presence.
Yeah,
he also ran in slow motion. He was you'd watch him, you'd think, oh, he's slow, but he isn't. I don't know if it's because he's obviously a big lad. He took big strides.
Yeah, it's same thing as Lukaku, where it takes him a while to get going, but when he goes at full speed, he's really quick.
Yeah, he's definitely a deceiving player to watch.
But yeah, with Mina, I think if he would have been able to stay fit, he'd still be at Everton now, and it'd be. I was saying that, or at a better club at he wouldn't be at Cagliari. It'd be at a decent level, Europa Champions League level club, because ability-wise, he's that good.
Yeah, unreal. Next is Luca Dean, 20 million from Barcelona.
Elite. No Everton fan thought we were going to be able to seamlessly replace Leighton Baines. We went
and
from
now we watch Mykolenko play. You sort of
we went
out for him, don't you?
Probably the best left back in the league after Ashley Cole left. Baines was. Yeah, I think it probably was, because everyone left around the same time as well. And even then, I still think Baines had a case of being better than Evra, even when Evra was at his best, to be honest.
I think there's an argument for him being the best English left back, to be honest, when you look at stats. But obviously, Ashley Cole's got trophies.
Yeah, Ashley Cole's just one of those.
Another time.
Ashley Cole's just one of those where it's unfair to Baines, but because of how good Ashley Cole was. We had the best left back in the league for a few years, and then we were we're not going to be able to replace that. Digne seamlessly replaced that and immediately became one of the best left backs in the league. His assist numbers were always through the roof. Yes, he loved a yellow card. And brutal, honestly, whenever I put a bet on a Villa game, I still put him to get a yellow card just because of his time at Everton.
I think his defending's better than people gave him credit for as well.
He's a really good defender. He's one of those where it's he's tenacious, so he lunges in a lot. But I much prefer that to Mykolenko, who just watches people go past him.
Yeah, when we sold him, obviously because of the manager we got in, there was this weird turn where we always do it, where we start to turn on certain players and go, oh, well, they weren't very good at this. And I don't think his defending was that bad. Whereas we've got a player now who I think is solid defensively, but absolutely abysmal going forward. And I know which one fans would want now. So
yeah, in a heartbeat. Look what he's doing. He went to Villa. Everyone called him a flop a bit when they brought in Alex Moreno. Then they brought in Maatsen this summer, who was just in a Champions League final, and Dinier's playing every week and smashing it.
Yeah. Finishing off that hat trick of Barcelona, lads, we've got Andre Gomez.
Should have been so much better.
Obviously, this was his loan with a loan fee of 2.5, and we weren't to get him permanently.
If it was, honestly, if it was loan, just the loan might be elite.
Yeah, 25 million it cost us the season after to keep him.
But even then,
horrific injury.
His form, again, tell me if I've got rose-tinted glasses here. Was the form not continuing on until he broke his leg?
I don't know, because I had a mate that once said to me, he was like, watching Andre Gomez is really deceiving because if he wasn't so good looking, there wouldn't be as big of a deal over him. And I used to say no, but the more I think about it now, I'm like, maybe it was that he was just. I think he had a good loan spell, but I think once we signed him permanently, the magic was killing off a bit on him.
Do you know what I think it was? I think it was the players around him. So obviously, Idrissa Gueye was, like I said, a really good footballer. Like winning the ball, but he was so bad on the ball at times. And then you had Gomez, who in that loan, everything was smooth in that loan thing. Everything he did was smooth. And I think that helps a player look better. The ability to get the ball on the turn, smooth touch, smooth little pass, even if it's 6 yards, it just looks better. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it's the thing with like, I don't want to use Busquets as an example because he was a really good footballer, but like players like a Busquets who, because everything's so smooth, the drop of the shoulders, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, he's a good dribbler. He was always a good dribbler.
I think he was good until the leg break. I think he might have dropped off a little bit, but I think he was still playing to a decent level. And then he broke his leg, and then I just think he never recovered after the leg break. And then I think he had a few moments. Even he had his moments for us, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think what the thing with Gomez is that lowers him so much. It's the wages. He was on absolutely horrendous wages towards the end for what we were getting, like 140 grand a week or something like that.
Walked through a couple of managers away. He was another one that in our bad losses would just be seen walking. I'm tempted to put him average, to be honest.
Yeah. Rose-tinted glasses, but I remember that loan spell so well.
The next one's Bernard on a free transfer.
Is Bernard good? Is Bernard one of those players we slagged off at the time, but was actually much better than we gave him credit for?
I liked him, but he was infuriating to watch. I've never seen a player that looked so much like they were afraid to shoot.
I mean,
he was so infuriating.
Everything was a pass, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember it was the game against United. I remember, and I'm sure he got a goal in it, and I'm sure it's because it was literally the only way that we could finish the play. Like sometimes he was infuriating to watch. He did get 8 goals across his whole Everton career. To be fair,
how many assists did he get?
Not too sure. I'll have a look now. But yeah, he's just what an interesting player.
It might be average.
Do you know what it is? Many assists.
I look at Jack Harrison specifically now, and I think it makes most of the other wingers we've signed look so much better. To be honest,
he got 5 assists.
He'll have been on big wages, won't he?
Yeah, oh yeah, he was a free transfer, but it was on that caveat that he was. Was it not?
He was on like 100 and something grand a week.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. Obviously, signed him from Shakhtar as well.
I'd say average. He wasn't poor. He was a good footballer. And
was like when murmurs of trouble as well was coming around that period, weren't there? A couple of players down at Shakhtar that were looking to move
No, he
on.
will have been. Was he not before that? Or was that
I'm
when like
sure.
the rumours and like the whisper started?
I
So
mean, it's Crimea's always been a bit of a problem anyway, but I'm
yeah, it has.
sure that was.
I'd say average.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with average. I don't think he was the worst player I've seen in an Everton top, and free as well.
No.
You can't really complain if he's free, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like
if
that
the
does.
wages were a bit lower, I'd put him in good. But the fact that I do remember the wages being a big problem when the FFP troubles first started.
Yeah, that window, by the way, 99.8 million euros. So way cheaper than the first one, which was awful, and cheaper than the one we move into, which is 1920, and we kick off with Alex Iwobi for 30 million from Arsenal. Big signing.
He's good. The first few years stunk, and do you
Oh
know what the
yeah,
thing is? The last few years redeemed it so much. And do you know what the thing is? I know me and you were probably two of the biggest Iwobi defenders on this channel. How the thing is with Iwobi, it's ironic because after he left, how right has he proved us after he left?
yeah, he's done incredibly well. I do feel like when we first signed him, we signed him off that goal in the Europa League
Europa
final.
League final
Yeah,
against
um,
Chelsea, yeah.
but he did go on to be a player that we all sort of hoped he would be.
The goal against Newcastle when the fan tied himself to the post.
Yeah, yeah.
The move to centre midfield, it's the. Do you know what? It's the thing I'll give Frank Lampard credit for, and it's why like I can't hate him, even though he stunk towards the end. Lampard, I can't dislike Lampard because the one thing I'll give him credit for compared to like a Dyche is at least he tried to experiment with some things. You know what I mean? Like Dyche is a miles better manager, but like if it's not for someone like Frank Lampard, I don't think Alex Iwobi ever gets that career renaissance.
Well,
And
I
like,
remember under Silva, there was, we're not playing him in his strong role, which is the 10.
well, I mean, look at what he's doing
Which,
for Silva now.
yeah, I was going to say, ironic how it ends up, isn't it? So
And
we put him in good.
yeah, we basically made all our money back on him.
Yeah.
Like, so what did we probably lost 5 or 6 million for someone
Yeah.
who I don't care what anyone says was vital in keeping us up in those Lampard years.
Oh,
Vi-
his key passes were really good. He was a really good assist.
his
Once we
passes,
took
his
him out,
dribbles, his only issue was the end product wasn't very good. But I feel like
creatively, we take him out
I
and
don't know how we could check, but I bet if we could check Iwobi's like pass to assist or like shot creating actions
probably
and
be
stuff
on
like
it.
that, he was probably top for the team by a mile.
The next one, I think this is going to be a flop. Moise Keane. Obviously, there's the United
Yeah.
game where Duncan
Do you know
Ferguson
why he's a flop?
takes him on and
Because
off.
it should have worked.
His attitude in that game where Ferguson took him off, to be fair, stunk.
No, do you know what? I know we all love Duncan Ferguson. No, he was right.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough to do it. It's really tough to do to a 19-year-old player, which at
He
the
was
time I
right.
said, and I stick by it. But his attitude did stink a little bit. And
My thing is though,
I
would
feel like he always
my
knew he was going
argument
to
back
be
was
superstar.
yeah was would in if I'm in the same position and the manager brings me on for 2 minutes and then takes me off, it's going to be hard for me to ever have a good relationship with that guy, and that's probably me being petty. But I'd be, especially because the thing is with Moise Keane is he's a player who knows how good he is, and I think now
Yeah,
he's proving it. He is a flop, and I think we got
yeah,
very lucky that he absolutely smashed it at PSG to get
yeah,
us our money back. But he is a flop because he's a flop where you look at it now and you look at like PSG and stuff. He wasn't the best at Juventus, but he wasn't bad back at Juventus either.
we
It
weren't
should have
even.
worked. It
Wasn't
should
it
have.
like a split payment as well? So he'd gone to like. I'm sure there was something about his payment, or he was installments we were paying off still a year on, or there was something
Yeah, we were
about his
still.
transfer
Yeah,
fee.
and then we got really lucky that we actually technically made profit off him in the end
Yeah,
because the loan fee from PSG and then what Juventus paid us, we
yeah.
technically made profit. But the
This
the
one
thing
could
is
have
with
been like a
Keane
flop.
now is Keane. I think is an example of what made the right manager and he would have been a player. I know we had Ancelotti, but the right manager he would have fired under us. Because the thing is, he's not one of those players where it's not suited to the Premier League. He was quite physical, he was really quick, and he's clearly technically talented. He's one where he probably should have got given more games. I feel like he was just a lot of bench games as well, but I guess I think Keane probably got very unlucky that Calvert-Lewin really got put his foot down, and he was obviously never replacing Richarlison. I think
remember
he
him
was
playing
probably meant
in
to
the
have
FA Cup.
Calvert-Lewin's spot.
Is it the FA Cup or the EFL? I remember him stinking out one of them against I think it might have been Fleetwood, and he absolutely stunk it out.
He missed 2 sitters.
Yeah, he's just not very good at all. I
Yeah,
remember looking
I think it's
going,
just one of those where he was what all of us wanted the club to do: sign young players and develop them. If we're going to spend all this money, because this is probably where the turning on Moshiri probably started a little bit, where it was just we're wasting all this money on what? We're not moving, because at this point we were having the problem where we were just not moving up the league.
yeah,
That nothing had improved since he came in, and we were often getting stuck in early relegation battles and then getting saved.
yeah.
And
I think
Keane 100% a flop, but it's I think this.
I think the next 2 are as well. To be maybe even the next 3. Is first one is Jean-Philippe Gbamin.
Yeah, flop.
Obviously injuries again, but Jesus Christ, we were so unlucky. I swear, we signed him. He gets an absolutely debilitating injury, goes to Mainz, gets injured there. Holy moly!
I think do you know what as well? Did he not play for us when he got injured again, or he played a game and looked really good in
he did. He
pre-season or
really,
something?
really good because he was the Idrissa Gueye replacement, wasn't he?
Yep. Yeah, flop.
Then obviously, who really did end up taking his place in the team, Fabian Delph.
He's bottom 5 for me. On this list, if I had to pick a bottom 5, he's in it.
I remember him having a couple of good games where people were like, "Oh, this is the run he had," but other than that, not very
but he's
good.
Just his attitude about things as well.
He was just having the fans out on certain things.
Yeah, he was just. He was a prick. The guy, he was just a prick. I understand why, because our fans are horrendous. But you were crap, and then arguing with fans, where I can seem to remember him trying to justify that he wasn't crap, or it'd be it was he was similar this thing to. Do you remember the Julian Lescott pocket thing when he was at Villa?
Yeah,
it was similar to that attitude, where he was just very arrogant about the position he was in, and you can't be arrogant about the position you're in when you are horrendous.
Yeah, it's not a great. He wasn't. He was another infuriate. You watch it and you'd go mad. Sidibe as well, well known for
elite just for that video. Just for the video, he's in elite.
He's got 2, hasn't he? He's got getting his shin pads on, and he's also got it's your man Sidibe. So
he's so funny. I don't care
how we can have 2 moments that Twitter absolutely loves in such a short period.
Can we put him in elite just for that video, or will we get in trouble?
I'm gonna put him as a flop because no, I don't.
Nah, we'll put him in poor. The video bumps him out of flop. The video bumps him out of flop.
If you take him out of the meme, I do remember him putting in. He was poor, yeah. I don't think
he was horrendous. He was so bad.
He got games.
The thing is, that video was a consistent reaction of Everton fans to Sidibe. Mm-hmm. It's just that video is so. It's bad that I have positive memories of Sidibe just because of that video.
The shin pad one summed it up for me for where he was at. I'm going to put Losselin barely played because I've just checked he's played 0 games.
Was he not the Huddersfield goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he ever play?
Nah.
No, because was he not meant to be second choice and then we Robin Olsen?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Missing. I think I've missed a player here. Yeah, so the next one is Gerard But yeah, I did. Right, I missed a player in the last window, so we'll do him first. Kurt Zouma.
Good. Kurt Zouma was so good for us.
Yeah, it was
We
good.
probably should have signed him permanently.
Next is Gerard Branthwaite for
Elite.
a measly fee from Carlisle.
Elite.
1 million.
Elite.
Yeah, I agree. Elite. He's going to go on to have a bigger career out of Everton.
If we can crawl up the league to like a top half team under the new ownership, and he can stay, we could easily make him the £100 million British centre back.
Yeah, I think he's going to break.
He
Maguire
will be starting for England at the next World Cup. We've seen it now. That as soon as he came back into the team, he's so good, so smooth. Against Chelsea, just that run where you just get the ball and just broke through, and where we had probably one of the better opportunities of that game against Chelsea recently. He's such a good player, man.
Next, go on.
It's just we don't get players like that at Everton, man. He's realistically, there's no reason he shouldn't be at even like a Man City or something now. He's that good.
I think we'll find they'll come looking in this summer. Next, we have Ben Godfrey.
I want to put him in good, just for the Ancelotti season. I think a lot of fans forget how good 27 million.
Yeah.
I can't put him in. I can't put him in poor just for the Ancelotti season. He was genuinely. It was similar to what we had with Branthwaite last season in that Ancelotti season. He played everywhere across the back line. Was a rock. And then was it injuries? The managers.
I think injuries, and then his performance did fall off a bit as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a reason the Europa League winners went and bought him. There's clearly something there. And I am sorry if you could hear that just then.
Well, now we have Alan as well.
Alan might be. Alan was good.
Yeah, I'm happy to stick Alan at good.
Alan was like similar to just a guy, I'd say. Similar model of player. Bulldog midfielder, really good at tackling. Yeah, good. I don't think there's any argument for any lower, to be honest.
Abdoulaye Doucouré.
Do you know what?
I think he belongs.
No, I put him in elite. Oh. I know this. The ending to it's bad, but he's another example of someone where we 100% go down if it's not for his goals. 100%. And we did. What did we pay? 20 million.
He was good under Silver as well. He was good.
He was good under Silver.
I know that was at Watford. I know that was at Watford, but when he came in as well under Ancelotti, he played well.
Did really well at the start under Dyche. Scored, and again, he's so annoying to watch. But the team does play better with him in the 10. He's frustrating to watch, but at the end of the day, he's been a really good servant to the club. He's scored vital goals in this really crap era, and he was good under Ancelotti and was consistently playing when we almost, when we were in a title challenge and we were in a Champions League challenge until like April, and then everyone got injured. Like, I think what a lot of people forget is in that season under Ancelotti, if everyone didn't get injured at the same time, we might have actually got Champions League that year.
Yeah.
Or Europa League. So it's like, some people want to say good because I can't not put him in elite, to be honest. Because my thing is, he's elite. I'm not saying in general, compared to for the signings under Moshiri, he's elite.
Yeah. Next we have Niels Nkunku.
Barely played.
Yeah, barely played. Looked great going forward when he did play, but barely played.
Looked really quick. Probably could use him now, to be honest.
Robin Olsen.
I think Robin Olsen was good,
Yeah.
I think some people might say barely played, but I just remember when Pickford got injured, and I think he might have had a few moments, but I remember him being really solid.
Did he not fall out because he wasn't getting game time he wanted?
Yeah, because Pickford came back, and then he went to Villa.
He did a job though. I think for what you paid for him, good or average, because
I'd say average because I think he had a few stinkers for us.
James Rodriguez.
Elite.
Yeah, absolutely.
Technically, probably the best player I've seen ever, including like Rooney.
Well.
Like, he had no right to be playing for us when he did, because like he was, I think, yeah, he was 100%. Because I remember when I was at uni making articles on it and mentioning his number. It was only De Bruyne ahead of him in like shot creating stuff and assist stuff. And then he got injured, and then that fat Spanish pleb sold him when he wanted to stay.
Yeah, well, they never got on, did they, from the
No,
Madrid days?
like he's elite. He probably contributed to, like, again, another one. I know it's hypotheticals. If James Rodriguez plays a full season, we get Champions League. You know, I remember the goal against Leeds. The goal against Leeds, where he just puts it through the defender's leg and then curls it top corner from outside the box. He should have been playing for a Champions League club, man.
Next, we have Josh King.
Flop.
There we go.
And that is purely because of what he went on and did against us as well for Watford.
Yeah. Now we have we've got that Benitez era coming in a bit here. So we have Vitaly Mikalenko.
Poor. It's not a flop, but he's poor. He's gotten progressively worse since we signed him.
Yeah, he started badly. Then he had that bit, didn't he, last season where he had that.
No, yeah. Do you know what? No, he's a flop. He's a flop. We paid like 25 million for a left back who can't defend. Like, he has his moments. He has his moments, but like this season especially, every time a winger runs at him, he gets past him. I'm going to use the most recent game as an example again. Pedro Neto had him on toast so badly that Ndiaye had to go from staying forward as the counter-attacking option to tucking in to help. And it's like, do you know what? It probably is poor, isn't it? But like, he's just this season, he's been so bad.
I think he is poor. I think poor is probably.
Yeah, and he's not. I think there is something there.
Yeah, he works hard and he is tough.
Yeah, I think I do think it's another one where maybe under the right manager they could get something out of him. But he's one of those where he's not a modern fullback, man.
No,
he's one of those where he's going to end up leaving Everton to go play in a back three somewhere as a centre back.
I think he'll probably end up going to. I can see him going somewhere like one of the off Europe leagues, one of the outside.
Right,
the top
I could see like a mid-table Italian club signing him.
Yeah, or like Turkey. The next is Nathan Patterson.
Barely played.
I mean, I don't know. I think
I don't think he can't have played more than 25 games for us.
I think we think he's barely played because he's not in the team. But yeah, he's got 51 games for Everton. Yeah, 21 in his first season, 23 in his second, 26 in his third, and then 1 in this season.
Is he?
This one's going to.
I want to put him in average, you know, because I don't think he's nearly as bad as some fans make out. And like, he's still really young.
I don't think he's as good as some fans make out.
No, some fans thought he was the second coming of Cafu. Because
average is probably fair.
Because the thing is as well, he's still young, and there's a realistic world where, again, under another manager, look at someone like Anthony Robinson, who only really started to get his opportunities at 22, 23.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's one of those where, like, a Thomas Frank comes into Everton, and I see Nathan Patterson suddenly becoming not the best, but like, or anything close to that. But like, I really could see us signing a right back as competition, not someone that's like a guaranteed starter.
I feel like he was a bit weak, and he put on I remember last season thinking he needed to put on a bit of weight and get some strength behind him. Which
Do you know what the thing is as well? He's weirdly quite good at playing those like fizzed balls into the box.
Yeah, he's got a first time
the
cross,
pacey ones. And was he not heavily involved in the best goal we scored last season? Did he not play the last ball to Beto when we turned into Barcelona against Newcastle?
Possibly,
I think it was him. That like 26 pass play or something. I think he's a decent player, and I don't want to put him in poor because, like, with someone like Mykolenko, for example, with someone like Mykolenko, we've seen him be horrid consistently with barely any shining lights. I feel like Patterson's had his shining lights, and a lot of the reason, for example, how many games has he probably played bad where he's just come back from an injury and he's been chucked straight into the starting 11 because we need to replace Seamus Coleman?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it balances out. I think like there's another player we signed that it balances out weirdly because of like form this season, and I think Patterson, like, he has some credit in the bank from good performances in older seasons, and I'm not willing to give up on him yet. So I feel like I just want to stay in the middle.
Next is Damari Gray.
Good. He's not elite because ability-wise, I can't put him in elite. But we sold him for a profit. We signed him for 1.5 mil again or something, 2 mil.
Yeah, great goal against Arsenal.
The goal against Arsenal.
Oh, I can't remember who else it was.
Take him back in a heartbeat now.
Rapid
over
player.
like a Jack Harrison. Take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, we need pace out there.
Yeah, and again, an underrated dribbler as well. I think. I think good.
Yeah, he was really good. Damari, no, not we just done him. Dele Alli.
Barely played.
Mm.
Because, like, realistically, if we go off when Dele Alli played,
he has barely played, but
as well,
13 games.
13 games. One of those games saved us from relegation. Absolutely, no doubt, was the best player on the pitch by a mile against Crystal Palace.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think he was.
I think he played well. I think the system change is what did it, really. We changed shape when he came on.
But I feel like a lot of that second half of the system ran through him. So it's like...
We've also put players way further down and went, one good season doesn't save you, so I'm not too sure I can have one good game.
But he played 13 games.
Yeah, well, I think barely played's probably fair.
Yeah, barely played, but it's like, I can't rank him off the games he played because he was getting cameos. Did he ever start?
No, I think his minutes have been really, really low. But
I just think it's very unfortunate for him, and I do think he could have been a good player for us, but your mental health matters, and I think he did the right thing, to be honest with you. I know a lot of fans try to clown him for it and stuff, but like, I can't like call him a flop now, knowing the circumstances and the fact that in the end we didn't end up paying anything.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does now at Como.
Yeah, like, again, I wish the best for him because I do really think it could have worked out for us. But like, I know some people will go, it's a flop, he cost 40 million. We didn't pay a penny of the 40 million.
If we'd have paid the 40 million, it'd have been a flop easily.
Yeah, honestly, if you'd have played those 2 more games and we'd have had to pay Spurs 10 million, you'd have probably gone in a flop for that. But it cost us nothing and then barely played.
Next, we have Andros Townsend.
Free as well?
Yeah.
Average.
Okay.
Yeah, like, he scored that. Was it Burnley? He scored an absolute worldie against.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scored the goal against United and did Ronaldo's celebration at Old Trafford. He was quite good for us, honestly, but like, he was weird. Where like, he was so slow that just he could completely stall counter attacks because he was so old and so slow. But like, he's just a typical average signing. He came in, did a decent bit for the club, and then left on a free again.
Next, we have these are a couple we can quickly rattle through because I don't think they played much. Begovic.
Barely played. Elite, elite just for the horses, arguably, but again, barely played.
Lonergan, I'm going to put in barely played as well. El Ghazi, barely played. I don't think he played at all.
No.
Donny van der Beek.
Barely played.
Yeah.
Or did he play more than I think?
I think he played more than he played enough to get on a flipping wall when somebody did a mural.
Yeah, I think he deserves to be on that wall just for the chant.
He played 7 games and managed to get on a
barely
wall.
played. I think he looked quite good when he did play. It's weird because I think he started off really well, got injured, and then ended really badly.
Yeah, people did like him. I just don't know if he deserves to be on a bloody wall. Amadou Onana.
I want to put him in elite. Yeah. Because the thing is with Onana, right, is if we weren't shite, he would have been better.
Yeah, he was a good player. Now.
He hasn't suddenly become 20 times better 6 months after leaving.
But we signed him for a lot of money. We signed him for about.
Did we not still make a profit?
Yeah, but I don't know. Looking at, I think he's good. I really rate him, but I think because of how short he's been here, putting him in the elite is a bit.
No, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
When I look at the players in the elite,
do you know what? Onana's a player who should have been in elite.
Yeah, I think
if we weren't absolute pony.
Next is Dwight McNeil.
Good.
There he is.
Good.
Yeah, this.
He's one who really has potential to go in. He has potential to go into elite.
Yeah, the goals he got last season were good. Neil Moipai, I'm gonna put him in flop. Absolutely hate him. James Garner.
Average. I like him. I think he's a good player, but he's starting to have a problem with not playing games.
Yeah, 10 million he cost us. We've done Idrissa. James Tarkowski on a free.
Is it elite?
I think someone said the other day, I don't think he's missed a game, or if he does, he's missed very little games.
He had a bad start to this season.
James, who does videos for the channel, put about how many games he's played for us, and it's an incredible amount.
Yeah, isn't he the only one the only outfield player to not miss a game?
Yeah.
He's elite, man. He cost us no money. He was unbelievable last season and only got overshadowed because of how good Bramford was. Had a stinky start to this season, but has turned it around in the last few games as well. And he's starting to play a lot. He's, leader of the team. Clearly, elite.
Ruben Vinagre, who I think might be him.
Barely played. He didn't play a game. He played a game off the bench.
He played. I think he played in the.
Did he not just play a pre-season game and that was it? Or he came off the bench in a game we got tonked.
He's played 6 games.
I didn't. Yeah, barely played.
2 of them in the EFL, 2 of them in the Prem, and 2 of them in the Sydney Super Cup. So
yeah. Did we not win that?
Yeah. No.
Oh no, we won the Florida Cup, didn't we?
The Florida one, yeah.
The Florida Cup.
Next is Connor Cody on a loan.
Good. Probably should have signed him permanently as well, to be honest.
Yeah, good player.
Really, good player. Was solid for us. Because as well, was our defence not really good that season as well?
Yeah.
It started off until Christmas. We barely conceded a goal.
Got a lot of clean sheets. Next is Beto.
It's a flop. It's a flop.
Yeah.
I love him, but for 20 odd million, what were we doing, man?
And Chimiti. I think he's got potential. It's I
think we have to put Chimiti barely played.
Yeah, I think he's got potential though.
Chimiti's got one way. I could easily see Chimiti being like a 15, 20 goal a season striker.
I think
If
he's
he can
got
if he can put the muscle, the technical ability's there, the physical,
yeah,
like the pace and stuff's there. It's like now. It's just striker's instincts, maybe like putting some muscle on and stuff like that.
yeah, using his frame a bit better. Danjuma, I could go with flop here. I
Flop.
think
It started off quite well, but like he was so bad in that second half of the season to the
he
point where
played.
he just didn't get any minutes.
He plays football like when you're a kid and the best lad on your team. He plays football like him. He'd just run down, not pass it, and just absolutely go to shoot all the
The
time.
amount of times he could have passed it for us, and like it started off so promising. Ironically, the same game it started off really promising for Beto against Doncaster.
Yeah. Next is Ashley Young.
Do you know what? Ashley Young before the season would have been flop, and I'd have spoke about him the same. Whoa, not that high. I'm going to say, I'd say average. I'd say, do
Average.
you know? Because the thing is, before this season, he was so bad. He was in Fabian Delph and arguably even Cuco Martina levels of bad.
Yeah.
But this season, fair play to him,
I
has
think he's our best outfield player.
complete 180.
Yeah,
And
I think he might
I
at this
remember
moment be our best.
saying in a video probably about Ashley Young, slagging him off and saying, I hope you prove me wrong and make me look like a mug. This season made me look like a mug. He's been a great like ambassador and like for the club, good leader clearly. Yeah, average. He's really turned it around because again, before the season he is in flop quite comfortably.
Next we have Jack Harrison.
Flop. Horrendous. Is this complete bias from the Chelsea game the other day? Yeah, he stinks. He can't cross a ball. He's slow. He's a winger. He's a right back.
The Albanian superstato hates him, doesn't he, on
Yeah, I
Twitter?
don't blame him. Imagine you start watching a club.
Hates him.
You start watching a club because like your country's golden light has gone to them on loan. Your country's one big hope, and then you have to watch Jack Harrison. Just because the thing is, did Broja not put it on a plate for Harrison in that first game, and he missed? Yeah, he put it on a plate for him twice.
Yeah.
He's genuinely might be the worst player on this list. Is that complete bias because of now? Yes, I'd rather have Cuco Martina on the right wing.
Jake O'Brien, I'm going to put him barely played.
Barely played. Give him a chance, Dyche, man.
Oh, we missed Solomon Rondon. I'm going to put him in flop.
Yeah, flop. Horrendous player.
I can't believe we've missed him. Ndai, I'm going to put.
I can't put someone in elite. I want to put him in elite. No, he's not average. He's good.
No, yeah, good. I think good's fair.
I want to put him in elite because the thing is, right.
He should really have more goals or assists.
He's so good.
Team.
Look again. For a lot of the players that we signed this season, I'm going to use this season or recent games as an example. He was so good against Chelsea. Like his ability. How long has it been since Everton have had a player who can get the ball, look at the defender, and go, "I'm going past you," and he seems to go past them almost every time as well. His dribble success rate must be through the roof. Because whenever I watch him, he's going past someone. And he should have so much more. He's such a good player. And honestly, should probably be playing for a club in the top half, not for us.
Next, we have Tim. I'm going to put average.
I quite liked him when he played.
Yeah, he's not played much.
What's happened to him? Is he injured?
I don't know. I just don't think he's getting in much at the minute.
I thought he was quite good at the start of the season. I mean, he dropped off a bit. And obviously Mangala came in and...
well, he's the next one on the list here.
Good. Mangala's ace. Mangala's really good, man. Like, and the fact that we're probably going to get him for really cheap now because of Leon's financial issues is... He's a good player.
Lindstrom?
Poor.
Poor.
He's better than Harrison. Do you know what it is? He's just his end product's not there, and it's like because the thing is, he'll get the ball, and even like again, he does so much more than Harrison.
He's not scored in ages. I think he might just be a bit. When they try too hard, I think it might be a case.
Do you know what the thing is? I could see him scoring, and then that weight coming off his shoulder a little bit because like For example, when he first came on and he missed like 3 sitters.
Yeah, he's one of the longest players without a goal in Europe.
But at the end of the day, he's at least compared to someone like Harrison, he's consistently getting in these positions to contribute. Harrison will stand on the wing, barely do anything, and then play the worst cross you've ever seen.
Brozier?
It is barely played right now.
Yeah, barely played.
But from what we've seen, he's the best striker at the club by a mile.
Who is that?
That is one of the. It's that. Oh, what's he called? Is that George Pickford?
Is it, or is it Billy Crellin?
No, that'll be Billy Crellin, won't it? Because I think George Pickford's because that's Virginia, and then
I'm going to put Billy Crellin in. Bear in mind, I don't know what he looks like.
I don't think Billy Crellin has only played academy football.
Virginia, where are we sticking him? I'm going to put him in. Oh, I don't know.
He's not that bad.
He does for a backup keeper. He's okay.
Yeah, I think he's probably barely played as well. But if we have to put him out of that, I'd say he's average. He's a backup keeper, isn't he?
And
he has had his moments for us, to be fair.
Yeah, he's not
had
a player
and he's had his good, which is
come out for.
I
think that's the list, isn't it? I don't think he's a keeper that I'd happily like. If Pickford got injured, I'd be sweating still.
Do you know what we should do for the sake of making it interesting? Go up to the elite, and we've got to pick a top 3 from the elite. I'd say Pickford, Richarlison are locked in. And then, who have we got? It has to be Calvert-Lewin, doesn't it?
Yeah, either him or Idrissa Gueye.
Idrissa Gueye, or Digne for me.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, the contribution to the club at the end of the day, and he is one where his career probably would have not taken off, but he would have been a consistent 10 to 15 goal striker if his knees didn't fail him. Because Jordan
is these players have got injuries.
Yeah, Jordan. It's like I imagine with Calvert-Lewin, right? It might be a bit of a mean comparison to make, but for Calvert-Lewin in footballing terms, I imagine it as like someone who hasn't been able to use their legs suddenly gets feeling in their legs again and has to learn to walk from scratch. Like the amount of football and as well. Again, as someone who constantly has slagged him off as well over the past few weeks, I think this kind of proves how much I actually like him deep down. That I'm trying to, but like he has had to completely. If you watch a Calvert-Lewin game now and then under Ancelotti, he's had to completely alter his style of football from being run forward, jump, head everything to come deep, pass the ball, play it around. I think he's had to completely switch up his game. And yeah, he's going to be our top goal scorer. And if he doesn't, it's a really damning sign of what's happened to him. Because is he not like 3 goals off?
Yeah, something like that. If he doesn't get it, it's I don't know. It's just mad.
Yeah,
if he doesn't get 3 goals this season from now, I'll be fuming, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be fuming. But I think there's the best to end it. Long reign, 6 years. Like I said before, what did I say? £670 million. I think I said earlier spent. A lot of it in the flop.
670 million and 9 places dropped, basically in the league.
Yeah, about 7 players made it in the elite out of God knows how many. But that is where we'll leave it. Cal, thank you for joining me, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. This is probably the longest video we've done that's not like a deadline day stream.
Yeah, this is one of the longest I've done. If you're still watching, thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the tier list. And if any you'd change, I'm sure there will be some that people disagree with. Let us know. The engagement is good. So
let us know for your free engagement. Let us know your best and your worst on the tier list.
Yeah. And in the YouTube engagement game, all publicity is good publicity. So let us know, even if you want to shout. But yeah, see you guys soon. Take care.